Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And today, I'm going to highlight my NFL team preview. Today, I'm going to highlight the 2021 Seattle Seahawks. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. We'll surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards of Football. Well, the Seahawks are a very special football team from an offensive standpoint because I think they got one of the top three quarterbacks in the game. And his name is Russell Wilson. And when you think about Russell Wilson, you think about a guy that's been very mature in this league. At 33 years old, was a third-round draft pick a couple of years ago. Came in there into Seattle on a very, very veteran football team and made his stake. And has played football at a high level, and I didn't see it coming. But when I talk about a guy that I enjoy from a physical, and a thinking standpoint that's played this game and this came in as a third-round draft pick, I can't think of nobody that's played in this league as Russell Wilson. I have a nickname for Russell Wilson because to me, he's a guy that really, really shows you what it is to be a class act in the National Football League. Good-looking guy. I call him the Chico DeBarge of the National Football League. Has a beautiful wife in Sierra. Has done nothing wrong off the field. And let's face reality here. He's done nothing but win in the National Football League. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's been to back-to-back Super Bowls. And really, to be honest, he's put that Seattle Seahawks team out there in the Northwest. He's made them must-see TV. So let's get to talk about the offense with the Seattle Seahawks. And kudos to the head coach out of USC, Pete Carroll, for picking this young man years ago in the third round. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. Last year, there was concern. He was sacked 44 times. The offensive line, let's be honest, didn't really play well. But you know what? The young man still played at a high level. Over 4,000 yards passing, 384 completions, 68% completion rate, 40 touchdowns. Man, he played at a high level and carried that football team based on the fact that his running game really was inconsistent last year. But I think at the running back position, I think if Chris Carson is healthy, local guy out of here in the Metro Atlanta area where we broadcasting live from Parkview High School, Chris Carson is going to be a football player that's going to still, when you look at Chris Carson's career, he's averaged almost 5 yards a carry. So I think Russell Wilson in the running back position in the Seahawks offense this year is going to be very special. Then look at the wide receiver position. I knew when that young man came out of Ole Miss 2 years ago, and he didn't go in the first round. And plus his father played in the league, Terrence Metcalf. And as I always told y'all, when I'm doing these videos here on 100 Yards of Football, it's something in the water in Mississippi. Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Brent Favre, Morgan Freeman, James Earl Jones. I told y'all people come from Mississippi. They're a different level. And DK Metcalf, what did he do when he got out there in the Northwest? He told y'all that he was going to be a Pro Bowl player. He's a special athlete, man. 6'3", 230. Last year, 83 receptions, almost 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Boy, he has taken that game to another level. Then Tyler Lockett, who's always been a good player at the receiver position out there in Seattle. When DK Metcalf came on the squad, you saw how that young man out of Kansas State took his game to another level. Over 100 receptions last year, over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Boy, I like that receiver position. And then I like David Moore. Seattle is stacked at the wide receiver position. But the key to them is their offensive line. Last year, a lot of injuries, a lot of ups and downs, but Russell Wilson still made it happen. The offensive line, I think, picked up one key piece this year why the Seahawks are going to be very good. They picked up a guy from Mississippi State. I'm telling you again, there's something in the water by the name of Gabe Jackson. And he's coming on the offensive line, and I think he's going to solidify it. because I think Dwayne Brown is going to really play off him at the left tackle position. I think Damian Lewis, LSU is going to step his game up to another level. And what? I think the offensive line is going to be stacked. I don't think they're going to be giving up 40 sacks this season. And you know what that means? That means that Chico DeBarge of the National Football League is going to be on fire. Now let's go over to the defensive side of the ball for the Seahawks. Granted, they lost a key piece in Shaquille Griffin. There's no question about it. And then he was the mainstay of their defense. And their D-line struggled in getting to the quarterback. But I still like what they got on the D-line. I think Carlos Dunlap has still got something left in the tank. They went out and signed Aldon Smith. He played decent football in Dallas. He's got in some trouble a couple weeks ago. Hopefully he can get that straightened out. But remember, he can give you some quality time. Another young man that I'm pulling for, and I think he's still got some football left in him, is Robert Kadichi. Because I saw the young man years ago play high school football here in Atlanta at Grayson High School, and he was the best player on the field. And then I saw him go to Ole Miss, go back to the Alabama tape when he was there in his 3 years. 2 of those games that Ole Miss beat Alabama, he was, man, clearly the best defensive player on the field. I'm pulling for the young man. Most of all, when you look at the Seahawks defensive line, you got to understand something. There's a lot of young pieces. But they got a defensive tackle out of the University of Texas that's been playing real well from Pooh Ford, the Eyes of Texas. He's a pretty good football player at the D tackle position. And Darrell Taylor out of Go Vols, the University of Tennessee. He struggled last year, but I expect him to step his game up. But what's going to help that D-line really well, when you're looking at a defense like the Seahawks, and you go back all the way to the Legend of Boom and all the great defensive players that came through and left, Bruce Irvin, my man Cliff Avril, Michael Bennett, Tony McDaniel, Red Bryan, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. But it's always a mainstay of the defense. And it's at the middle linebacker position. Bobby Wagner is elite at 31 years old. He's been a special football player since he's came in the league, and it's been really the quarterback of the defense. Last year, he had 138 tackles. This guy's played at a level that really everybody's been talking about Russell Wilson. Granted, everybody's been talking about the Legend of Boom defense over the years, but you look at it, this young man is ascending into numbers that the great Ray Lewis put up, the great Willie Lanier put up. Oh, my God. You see what I'm saying? Linebacker position, Dick Buckus. Bobby Wagner is starting to ascend into that arena of great middle linebackers to play this game. So long as he at the middle linebacker position, the Seahawks defense is going to be pretty good this year, and they're going to improve on them getting to the quarterback. Then in the secondary, like I said, they lost Shaquille Griffin. That's no problem. They're bringing over a young man, I'm going to call him A. Weatherspoon, coming over. Yes, sir. From the San Francisco 49ers that played pretty good football. Then they got Trey Flowers out of Oklahoma State that's a veteran that can play at a real high level. True enough, he's inconsistent, but when you look over it all, he's been a guy that's been in that system in Seattle, and I think he's going to be pretty good this upcoming season. But the key thing I like about the Seahawks, Pete Carroll has always had a great knowledge and a great thing for drafting players and making them stars, especially in the third on down to the later rounds. As I mentioned to you, Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick. Richard Sherman was a 5th-round pick. Michael Bennett was undrafted. Cam Chancellor was a 5th-round pick. All these guys have been able to ascend in this system. Remember this name that I think that they really got a real good football player. Trey Brown out of the University of Oklahoma can play football. And to me, he was probably one of the best defensive backs in the Big 12 last season. He's going to come into Seattle and shock some people at that D back position. But when you look at the Seahawks, overall, it's all about Chico DeBarge, Russell Wilson. This guy is still playing at a high level. And to me, he's got one of the best dual wide receivers in the game in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And long as he got them and you got Russell Wilson under the system out there in Seattle, They're going to be a serious team that's going to challenge to get to the Super Bowl in LA. You got to think about this. Granted, a lot of people made a lot of things in the offseason, talked about Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson's relationship. Russell Wilson wanted out of there. But you know what? It didn't happen. And the Seahawks have still got that young man from Richmond, Virginia, by way of North Carolina State, by way of Wisconsin under center. And when you got a quarterback like that who's been hungry, that started as a rookie, as a third-round pick, last year threw for 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, 68% completion rate, 384 completions, you can win on any level in football. I like the Seahawks football team. And when it's all said and done, I think they're going to be a serious team in the NFC West. It's no question about it. It's going to be a tough division because you got San Francisco, you got Arizona with Boomer Sooner, Kyler Murray. You got the dog out there from the University of Georgia, Matthew Stafford with the Rams. To me, that's going to be the toughest division in football. And also the Rams still have the best defensive player in the game, in Aaron Donald. But you know what? This is what it's all about. It's the National Football League. It's about the Seahawks coming out at Northwest with Russell Wilson. So if you like the video today, please come and share it. The Seahawks Nation, y'all going to have a very special football team, long as y'all keep that young man out of Richmond, Virginia under your center. My final words about the Seattle Seahawks. You know, Seattle is a great music base out there from rock. And you think about all the great bands that came out of Seattle, Soundgarden, the late great Chris Cornell, Pearl Jam. But one of my favorite bands is Alice in Chains. So when I think about the Seattle Seahawks football team, I think about what? The lead writer and lead singer, Jerry Cantrell. Know Me. Broken by My Master. TC on A Child of Love. Hereafter, the Seattle Seahawks are going to be dangerous in 2021. That's what my man, the lead songwriter and lead singer, Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell says. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it here on 100 Yards Football. And kudos to my producer this morning, the youngest member of 100 Yards Football, Mr. Logan Landers. Y'all be blessed this morning here on 100 Yards of Football.